Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. In this video, we're going to show you how to troubleshoot the top 7 reasons why your washing machine won't spin. Stick around to the end of the video for an important washer safety tip that most people don't even know about. But before we begin, we're going to make sure the appliance is unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off your hot and cold water supplies. First thing to check is the coupler. It's what connects the motor to the transmission on older direct drive top-load washers. The coupler is made up of 3 pieces, usually 2 plastic and 1 rubber, that work together so the motor can spin the transmission. One side of the coupler is mounted on the transmission and another is mounted on the motor. The rubber part goes in between to absorb shocks and vibrations. If the coupler has failed, you might hear the motor running, but the washer won't agitate or spin. You'll also hear a loud noise coming from that area as the broken coupler pieces grind together. That may also leave pieces of rubber or plastic on the ground underneath the washer. If that's the case, you'll have to replace it. If you need to order a part, simply go to AppliancePartsPros.com and type in your model number. Find your part on the easy-to-read diagrams and match it to the number below. Click on the part if you want to see more pictures of the item or watch its repair video. You can also scroll down to see DIY stories from customers like you, or ask a question in the Q&A section. Once you're ready, you can add the part to your cart. It's that easy. Most orders will arrive within 2 business days. Next is the drive belt. It connects the motor pulley to the drive pulley so the inner tub can agitate and spin. There are 2 different types of drive belts, V-belts and multi-groove belts. No matter what style you have, if the belt's broken, fallen off, or stretched to the point that it's slipping, the washer won't spin. On front loaders, they're usually located at the back, and on top loaders, they're usually located on the bottom. Visually inspect the belt. If it just fell off, you can try to put it back on and see if it works, but if it's stretched or damaged, you'll have to replace it. Now we're going to check the lid switch assembly. It's a safety device that tells the washer when the lid is closed. There are many different types of lid switch assemblies. On older top-load washers, you could start the cycle with the lid open, but if the switch failed, it wouldn't let the washer go into the drain or spin cycles. They're usually located underneath the washer top. When you close the lid, the strike engages the switch to tell the washer that the lid is closed. First, check the strike to make sure it's not damaged. If it's okay, then we need to check the lid switch for continuity. In order to see if the part can carry an electric current, we need to test it with a multimeter set to continuity. Once you have it set, touch the probes together to make sure it's working. Depending upon your switch type, you'll have to remove the wires or disconnect it from the wiring harness. Then touch a probe to each terminal. With the lid closed, it should have continuity. Then open the lid, and the meter should show no continuity. If it doesn't, then the part has failed and needs to be replaced. Now we're going to check the door latch assembly. It's a safety device that tells the washer if the door is closed and locks it during the cycle. There are many different styles of door latch assemblies. If it fails, the washer won't get the signal from the latch that the door is closed and locked, so we'll think the door is open. Depending upon your style of washer, it may still fill, but it won't agitate or spin. If you have a washer that has a diagnostic mode, after several tries, the washer will display an error code indicating that it's failed. On front loaders, the assembly is located behind the front panel, and on top loaders, it's located on the top. Before you open up the machine, first take a look at the door strike just to make sure it's not damaged. If your washer is not agitating or spinning, and it's giving you an error code, you'll have to get the tech sheet, find your code, and follow its troubleshooting steps. If there's no code, but you still suspect the latch has failed, you'll have to use the tech sheet or wiring diagram to figure out how to check it on your specific model. As always, guys, hit those like and subscribe buttons now to help support us making more of these videos. If you have a top-load washer, the next thing to look at is the clutch. It gradually gets the washer tub up to full speed during the spin cycle. Clutches can come in a variety of different designs, but they all basically work the same. Inside, they have a brake pad-like material that grips and drives the washer. If the material wears out, the clutch may not work properly, and the washer tub won't spin. The clutch is usually found at the bottom of the machine. If you're hearing noises coming from it, and your tub's not spinning, it's likely that it's failed, and you'll have to replace it. Next thing to check is the motor control board. It controls the speed and direction of the motor. A lot of newer washers have a separate control board that controls the functions of the motor. If it's failed, it may not be sending power to the motor, so the washer won't agitate. On front loaders, they're usually mounted on the bottom of the machine on the base. On top loaders, they're usually located inside the control panel. First thing you want to do is check that the wiring connections to the board and between the board and the motor are plugged in securely. Also make sure there's no corrosion or noticeable damage to any of the connections. If that doesn't solve the problem, you'll have to get the tech sheet and follow the troubleshooting steps to test the board on your specific model. If it fails, you'll need to replace it. Last thing to check are the tub bearings. They allow the drive shaft to rotate as the washer goes through their cycles. Washers usually use either a sleeve bearing or ball bearings for the drive shaft to ride on. When sleeve bearings fail, they usually just start to squeal, but if your washer has ball bearings that have gone bad, they could be causing enough drag so the tub won't spin. On front loaders, the bearings are located at the rear of the outer tub, and on top loaders, they're at the bottom of the outer tub behind the motor. All bearings can fail due to age, or if the tub seal is leaking and water's getting into them, it can shorten their lives. If the bearings are starting to fail, you'll get a squeaking noise, and as they continue to fail, the noise and vibration will get worse. If it gets really bad, the bearings can seize up and prevent the washer from spinning. To check if a bearing has failed, you can turn the inner tub manually and listen for any noise or feel if the bearings aren't turning smoothly. If your bearings have failed, you'll need to replace them, and it's also recommended that you change the tub seal at the same time. Now here's that safety tip we promised you earlier. Washing machine fill hose inspection is often overlooked by most people. If your fill hose bursts, it can cause severe water damage to your home. A fill hose can flood your home with up to 500 gallons of water per hour, so it's important to inspect them regularly. Make sure to check the entire hose for any signs of bulging or leaking. Also make sure the fittings aren't corroded. Then shut off the water and look at the washers and screens inside. If they're clogged, you can just clean them out, but if they're rusted or damaged, you'll need to replace them. When you reinstall them or put new ones on, make sure the hose fittings on each end are tight so you don't get any leaks. There are many different types of hoses. The most common ones are rubber or braided stainless steel. Rubber is the most common type of hose, but if you want extra burst protection because of where the washer is installed, it's recommended that you upgrade to the stainless steel type. Some of the newer systems even have an auto shut-off feature that shuts the water off if a leak or change in pressure is detected. Regardless of the hose type or the warranty it has, it's important to check them at least 1 to 2 times a year because they can fail at any time. Once you take care of the problem, you can plug the appliance in, turn the water back on, and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another troubleshooting video brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons now, and if you have any questions or want to share how your repair went, leave a comment down below.